Alafia to all. We are here tonight.
Aburu Aboye Aboshise Asheo.
We are here on the Orisha, the Way of Life show right here on the Sheet 919 FM, where we educate and edify and bring truth and clarity to the listeners in Radio Land and those of you streaming on Facebook. You can get interactive with us and see what's going on in the studio here by going to Facebook or YouTube, going to the search bar, Sheet 919 FM, where you can see myself and King Shaka.
Benny.
Our guest for tonight isn't yet, but with the blessings of Olodumare, we must continue.
I
just like to say, Iba, I pay my respect to the owner of heaven and the spirits of the earth. I pay my respect to the King of the world, he whom we praise first. As I give reverence to Owen Miller, the spirit of destiny, I pay my respect to the 16 wombs of the world and their messenger, whom we call the youngest one. The dearest one at the crossroads of the worlds, whom we call Yeshu. I greet the powers of the east, I greet the powers of the west. I greet the powers of the south, I greet the powers of the north. I greet the king in the city of love. I give homage to the winds in the invisible realms. I give homage to the owner of earth. I who am just a child of mystery. I who am grateful. I give homage to the spirit of the mountain. I give homage to the spirit of the ocean. I give homage to Akoda. I give homage to Asida. I give homage to the spirits that move the world. I give homage to the bones of my blood. Between worlds, I give homage, I give respect to my fathers and mothers, to the owner of heaven and earth, to my Ori. I give homage to Onmilia, the spirit of destiny. I give homage to Iku, the spirit of death. I give homage to Onaili, the owner of the earth. I give homage to Yami Usurunga, the powerful one. And I pray that the word of the word will open the 16 doors of creation wisely and gently. In humble words, we, myself, Alatu Mishe and King Shaka, we give words to spread across the world, gently and in dignity. May the words and the messages imparted in this show bring honor to Onmilia and my family of Orisha Ifa. I like to say, Alafia to my Are, Ogboni Are Egbe, Ubati Lashe. Ifa Lashe, Orisha Lashe, Egunleti, Egbe Pumeleri, headpiece of Iyami, Egbe Imo. Yeye Oba Adiola, Ifayomi, head priestess of Iyami, Egbe Imo. Eshubai, Ifiyomi, Telemini, Alokode, Iyalode, priestess of Iyami, Egbe Imo. And all the members of Iyami, Egbe Imo. Ness in Kunupia.
Benny, I just would like to send greetings to all elders, spiritual heads of shrines, priests, priestesses across this land of Trinidad and Tobago and the region. And I would just like to say as well to through Age Yogbe. Age Yogbe says, when we give thanks today is when we will receive another blessing tomorrow. So it is always good when we could open whatever program we have with a pleasant word of prayer. Asheo. Thank you, brother.
We will just like to let the listening viewership know that to keep this, I must say thanks to the management of the Sheet 919 FM for having us.
Benny.
And we keep growing day by day because, you know, we are two young hours, you know. And I must thank Shaka for giving me that support, because I want to send this message to my people especially. There is no senior here or who small and who bigger. Shaka is supporting me, and in return I am supporting Shaka. We are trying to get the message, right? So the negative inputs and the negative messages, we will not be tolerating it. This is not a my show. This is not a Shaka show. This is a Orisha show.
Man.
The way of life. Because when you look at other ethnic shows, you don't see that sort of, fight and stick. We here about getting the message outside.
Benny.
Bringing clarity. Destroying, walking on them.
Sure.
Walking on them physically, mentally, and spiritually. Walking on them.
Sure.
We fed up. We had enough. This is our time. Ifa is the truth.
Sure.
Ifa will always be the truth.
Benny.
Ifa is my truth and it is your truth.
Sure.
Open your eyes. Who have eyes to see, let them see.
Benny.
I must say, to keep the program here, it's costly. Management has given us a very good package to keep this growing. I would like to call out some of the sponsors, because without the sponsors, we could not get the show going. Nice Nuts of fresh coconut water, Gossip Gel Polish, SH Dynasty Clothes Apparel, Temple of Jubo Orisha Umilo, Banjela Music Productions and Media Services, and the Yami Egbe Imones. King Shaka has some sponsors also. Thanks to these people, these shrines, these ilays, these palaces, for the little drip by drip we have made it.
Yes.
We have made it that we have sufficient to go through September. So we'll be looking onward for donations to take this further. Let us support our own thing, our own culture. Shaka?
I'd like to give thanks to Owo Oya Holistic Massage Therapy. Their number is 3506178. That is Owo Oya Holistic Massage Therapy. Also, Ajetola Vision Marketing Enterprises. Ajetola Vision Marketing Enterprises. 3065691. And also the Lock Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May Olodo Maria and the Rishas guide and protect you.
Oh, I almost forget one other sponsor. That is Omo Inu, All Things Woman. Ashe.
Ashe. So until such time, let's get down to discussion. The guest isn't here, but the wheel is turning.
Yeah.
Time is going.
But when you said, that we need to put aside certain things, what came to mind is a story out of Uduifa, out of Ogunda Meji, that speaks about there was a time when all the body parts had growls with the mouth, and they were saying, how come the mouth is the one who eaten all the food first? So they decided, to not cooperate with the mouth, and then, things was not going well. The eye couldn't see anymore because the eye was not getting nutrients. The legs started to get wobbly. The belly started to swell because the belly was swell up with gas, right? And all of these things because they thought that one was eating all the food. So when they went to Orun Mela for IFA consultation, Orun Mela told them, in fact asked them, who is the one who is giving all the trouble? And they said that it is the mouth. And then Orun Mela divined, and he said, hey, you all go back, work together, and let things go well. So when they went back and they greeted the mouth, they started to feed the mouth, and the eye started to get back its sight. The belly started to go down and look normal, and the legs began to get strong. So the gist of it is, no matter where we are a people, and when it is we are called to do the work of the Orisha, we need to settle down and do the work of the Orisha well, because what is done here would benefit all, and this could streamline things to go well for our children, because it's our children who are the ones that would carry on the battle when we leave this earth. So peace, love, and blessings, and may we continue to work together for the betterment of our community.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Tonight, as the guest isn't here, I would like to look into the apprenticeship training in Yoruba land for Omo Awos. Could you give a brief explanation what Omo Awos?
Now, we are Ifa Orisha devotees, and everything we do, it is based on the protocol of what is set about by Olodumare, by the way we should live, by the way we should do all things. So when we talk about being an Omo Awo, it is just being a student priest in training. And there are things that one must imbibe, in fact, inculcate in themselves in order to make themselves a student. And these qualities are, number one must be humble, because in order to learn, one must be humble. Another part of being an Omo Awo is being patient. Now, we can't rush to learn, but we must be wise in where and who we lend our ears to and what we put our eyes upon as an Omo Awo, because not all mediums of information may be best suited for us. So in terms of us being Omo Awos, we would be sticking to Ifa and Ifa practice, because that is what we are initiated into, and that is what we choose to represent as young ambassadors of the tradition. Also, in fact, in being an Omo Awo, one must make themselves teachable, which is you must make make time to go visit your Uluwo, your Iyanifa, your Ujubona, sit with them,
But as we going on that, because
Benny,
you come like the guest tonight.
Oh God,
I would throwing it at you, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, this is how young Awos.
Yes.
They meet up one and they banter. And you gain knowledge, understanding,
Benny.
wisdom.
Yes, brother.
And you gain patience.
Benny.
Awos Iyanifa Iya, explain it to those who on Facebook for the first time. They might be logged on to the show and they might want to know what is an Iyanifa,
Well, what an Iyanifa is a priest of Ifa, a female. And what qualifies one to be an Iyanifa, one must be initiated into Itefa. Firstly, to be an Iyanifa, the person must subject themselves to being trained under a competent spiritual priest or priestess, and they must go through a certain amount of contact time in terms of sitting, humbling themselves, and being passed through the certain rigors and training in order to become an Iyanifa. You must be knowledgeable, because when somebody is titled an Iyanifa, it's a very big responsibility, and it must be done with great honesty. Because in Ifa, according to Osa Erete, if one is not qualified, one must not walk about pretending to be qualified. So in order for one to be an Iyanifa, one must be initiated, one must be taught competently under a spiritual priest or priestess of Ifa. They must pass through a certain amount of contact hours, and they must be given certain authority in order to practice the initiation, the tradition in a particular way. In terms of one being an Uluwo, when one is entitled an Uluwo, it means that that person has been initiated into Iteludu. Now, Iteludu is different from Itefa. Women can only do up to Itefa, And it is only the men who will be able to see Odu. So a man must go through that process, and then he would be taught under a Babalawo, a competent, knowledgeable, adept Babalawo, in order to go forward. One must have enough contact hours, being with their Ulowo, being taught, you know, going through certain rituals as well, in order to build their knowledge and skill set. And then one must then have in their possession certain instruments of Ifa that would qualify one to be called an Ulowo. So an Ulowo is not someone who is a head of shrine. An Ulowo must be well qualified within the boundaries and the parameters of Ifa Orisha tradition. You must have certain things. You must have Osun staff, you know. You must go through Ibaiwa, which is an initiation that one must go through by their Ulowo in order to practice certain things on their spiritual children. So we must not rush things. We must take our time and learn the tradition in the right way.
But Shaka, just touch on some of the people on the Facebook page. I'd just like to say, special Juliana Caesar says good night. Jennifer Ashby Okoli says greetings to my brothers and sisters.
Good night, Jennifer Ashby.
Fiola Rada, always supportive. Abora Boye.
Agwato, Asuri Warrior Phone.
Continued blessings. Atiba Swamba, me Olodo Maria and the Orishas and our positive ancestors.
That's our family from Tableland, man.
Nice, man, yeah.
Deep South.
Keep blessing you all with good health and long life.
Ashe.
I'd like to get in contact with that shrine down there at Tableland.
Benny.
Like Angie says, greetings to you, Ifa Bamishi and King Shaka.
Benny, thank you, sister.
Thank you very much. You're always supportive of the show. So we must give those people who always here with us, we must show them up. Even if it's the first time I will notice, first time on the show, and we'll give you that respect and that encouragement.
Yeah.
Right, so the guest isn't here, but the wheel is turning.
And we jamming.
Yeah, we must keep jamming. Share the live, people, share it. Get people on board, get them to understand that clarity is being sent out here.
True.
By many means. You can call me on 342-0081. I'll be opening the lines from 8 o'clock.
Benny.
342-0081. Or you can send me WhatsApp messages at 771-1791. As someone says, during the week they see me singing and dancing and prancing. Like the wheel must turn. It must turn. When I'm here, I'm Ifa Bamishe. When I'm there, I'm MC Duke, right? And that is what we do. So, Eshubaye Olokoyede, that's my Yanifa up there in Arima looking on. How are you, Mama? Right, so we're going ahead. We're developing, right? How long does apprenticeship or training last?
Ooh, that is very good. And that is very good because some people think that when you initiate today, you'll become a priest or a priestess tomorrow. That
the question come back to me. Now, before people started visiting Yoruba land and gain this knowledge, we know Orisha was being practiced here. When people started to afford it, we had people in charge. I know at that time if they used to call themselves Olowo.
No.
But the more you used to call themselves the Baba.
The Baba.
The Baba.
Yeah.
The Baba.
The Baba.
And what give them this recognition? Is it because, you know, in the tradition, there are people who are not governed by an Orisha, or who, there are a lot of self-initiated people. Plenty self-initiated. Never go through an initiation.
Yeah. Well, what you're saying there is nothing new to my ears. And from what I was taught is that Ifa has always been around because this is what was carried on by our ancestors. Because Orunmila was one of the 400 Irumale to come on earth. And apart from that, too, even though we had elders from long ago who were initiating people into Orisha, based on the time frame, Orisha used to come and speak to our elders through dreams, through visions, and they even used to manifest through our elders in order to get certain things to the way it is now. So back then when we did not have much of the influence of Yoruba land here. The Orisha used to come and speak to our ancestors. Do this, do that, do our offering here, do our sacrifice here in order to open the way for where we are now. So we had some of our elders of long ago who was Oshun priestesses. Well, Oshun was on their head. Some elders were Ogun. Some elders had Shango on their head. And it was very valid because the Orisha used to come and show them certain things and also show them to prove whether Orisha was speaking or not.
Okay.
So back then, even though we did not have the knowledge of the Opwele or the Ikin, our elders was guided on the usage of Obisil. So whenever they would encounter a spiritual energy, it was mandatory to go before whatever Ojubo or stool and cast the Obiseed to find out what message that was being brought was in alignment to what Olodumare was saying. So even though we would say that, certain knowledge now come, it is our ancestors and the Orisha have been working from since back then in order to bring us to this standpoint here where we could access and accept what it is we're supposed to be practicing. Because we all know what had happened during the transatlantic slave trade. Certain things, was lost. But in order for us to get it back, the Orishan ancestors have been working. They have been working.
So it goes back to how long does apprenticeship or training last?
Well, first I would say what the elders would say. Success and failure is within oneself. So it is up to one to make themselves teachable. Don't be too pushy to learn though, but be humble and use wisdom in learning. So in terms of one apprenticeship, in terms of being an Omoawo, that could take years. It will take years because one, we learn by observation. And we cannot force elders to teach us anything. We have to make ourselves humble, make ourselves teachable, and gain the trust of elders so that they could entrust certain teachings upon us. So that training could take years, but one must make themselves teachable and make themselves approachable. Benny.
I know you have been to Yoruba land.
Yeah.
I've seen the pictures. I know it's not a photo shoot, eh?
No, photo shoot doesn't.
Right? The training of an Omoawo in Yoruba land, to you, to your belief, to your experience, you have been there.
Well, we practice certain things here, and I must say it is in alignment to what happens across there. One of the things what an Omoawo does, sometimes they go and they live in with their Ulowo or Ianifa. They go and they stay on the compound. And whilst on the compound, it is when, they would learn certain things But they won't learn everything just like that. They would have to prove themselves, because Ifa is about truth. So if you go to an elder with dubious intent, you know the energy would make you out, as we will say. You know, so when a person across there is learning, they would go, they would sweep, you know, the spiritual temple. They would labor. They would labor, because it is through labor one learns humility. So sometimes you might have to wash your uluwo clothes. You might have to wash your Ifa cloth, because that is part of they teaching you patience. That is also part of they learning how to trust you, because they would give you certain assignments, and based on how you carry it out, they would know, this person is ready for this. It is not like you come and they just throw all the information on you. You have to gain that. In fact, you have to prove yourself. So it's all about proving yourself, making yourself humble, making yourself teachable, and making yourself loyal. Because when you go and you stay with your spiritual priests, or you go there off and on, it is you building a relationship with them. And when you live with your Uluwo or your Ianifa or your Ojubona, they have certain responsibilities that they must carry out to you. So when it is you're going to stay with them, it is not for sexual pleasure. It is not for that at all. They have an oath to keep with Olodumare and with their Uluwo, and in keeping with the ethics of Ifa, in training you. So it must not be one of sexual pleasure. It must not be something clandestine, you know. It must be something of truth. So they in turn will treat you with respect, and you would give your Uluwo or Ianifa or Ujubona that respect too, because it goes both ways. It's a reciprocation, but one must make themselves humble in order to learn. So sometimes we may have things that could hinder, you know, one's progress. It's not a hindrance, but these things happen. Sometimes one would get initiated at an older age, and they would have a family, they would have a job, they would have certain things going on in their life, but they cannot come to their Uluwo or Ianifa or Ojub on us place every day. But a simple phone call and a simple genuine effort in order to go and look for them would help that person to learn. So it's all about keeping that harmonious connection and communication with one's spiritual elder in order to learn. You must make that aura one of harmony so you would learn. And you will be surprised to see within a little time, you will watch how your spiritual elder deals with certain things, and you'll be like, wow. Yeah, you would learn plenty from observing their temperament. And even in Ifa, they say when an Omo Awo, one elder is easily angered, look at them. Look at them. They have much to be desired still, you know.
I touching base here with the people on Facebook. Jennifer Asby Okoli says a respectable educational relationship. So said, so true. A really educational relationship in the sense of you're learning, you're edifying,
it's an educational relationship,
and you're gaining knowledge.
Yeah.
JJ Simon says, in Yoruba, some women who are training end up marrying their Olowo.
Yes, these things happen, but once it is done within the guidelines and the parameters of Ifa, once you're really interested in a person genuinely, and you are not seeking to marry them for dubious intentions, and Ifa gives permission, these things can happen. But it's all based on one's genuine intent. What you're going there for? Is it really love, or is it you're really seeking, you know, to iPhone you know, deep darks, secrets, you know, but it won't last. But you must be honest in your intentions and everything. So a woman could have a uluwo, and if I gives the lesson, it is okay. Ashe?
Ashe. So it goes again to say that in shrines and parleys, we must have some sense of respect for one another, because, I mean, black women are the most beautiful and greatest creation in the earth. At times, you know, but this could also cause discord within the group or the community. So we don't know what we are about. What is expected of an Omo Awo?
Well, an Omo Awo, first, what is expected is loyalty. You must be loyal to what you got initiated into. You know, so if it is one is initiated into Ifa, Oshun, Ogun, Egungun, whatever, we must stick on that line of practice and not go against that order, because the first thing is, when one is seeking to learn, one must remain focused. So we can't be here and there and everywhere in everybody else's doctrines and ways of life, and we are still looking to find our spiritual footing into what is ours. That is expected, number one. Number two, you always go genuinely and look for your Uluwo, your Iyanifa, your Ojubona, you know, your elders, because it is your elders who will teach you. Number three, one of the things that is greatly expected of an Omo Awo is to always carry themselves as an ambassador. Because when people see you, the first thing they will ask, who's the Uluwo? And if you are cussing drunkard all over the place, what do you think people will say? They will say, is that the way how you would represent your Uluwo? So we must imbibe these things into practice, you know. Number four, one of the things that is expected of an Omo Awo as well is to do not do things that you are not trained to do.
But that is Ifa.
Yes, you can't do anything you wasn't trained to do.
In the 16 laws of Ifa, that is stated, like Jamie Simmons is saying here. What is your intake on those who have an idea about the tradition, get hands of Ifa and doing readings with Opele?
Well, I would say, from where I was taught by my Uluwo, in order to do reading for someone with Opele, one must be initiated first. Well, the person is saying, if someone only has hands of Ifa and is doing reading with Opele, there is a certain procedure and protocol that comes with one being able to use Opele. One must go through the particular protocol. That is, one must be given the authority and go through the initiation that comes with using Opele. One must eat the food of Opele first before one uses Opele. One must be knowledgeable about the 256 Odus and their various verses or chapters, because
I must be able to interpret it.
Yes, because if a particular Odu come that says, here what now? You need to give a hand now, and that person who is trying to learn on you does not know how to interpret that, what will happen? They will bring harm and destruction to themselves and the client.
What is the Udo? You know, with young hours, what is the Udo that once you're on the mat, once it falls, you stop and pay homage to it?
Sometimes, if your Udo comes, you would put your head on the mat to give respect that your Udo came to speak, you know. But even in doing that, there are some Odu that comes that the Babalawo would have to throw his up while they're outside. They would have to crack a bottle of gin one time and take a drink and give the client a drink. Yes, they may have to offer a hen one time. So if one is not competently trained and as an apprentice and is graduated under an adept Babalawo, then that person is in default. And I could come on live radio and say that because, as you said, Ika Ofun, what we use as our compass, is always telling us one must not practice things that they are not trained for. Well,
the second part of the question by Jamie Simmons is, and they're buying their own tools and books.
Here what has happened with books. Buying spiritual books is good, but one must look at who is the author. Who is the author first? Is the author a author that is recognized as an adept Babalawo or an adept Iyanifa, who is competent enough to compile the messages of Ifa in order for you to read and learn in the proper and right way? One could buy books, but we must look at who's the author first, and we must get the guidance of our elders, our Ulowo, our Iyanifa, our Ojubona, in order to know if certain books are for us at a particular time. Because you must know how to channel certain information when you get it. And even though you buy books, you have to be hands-on in order to learn certain things. You will just get theory from the books, but you must be with the elders to learn the practicality of how to use the information within the books.
Mashe. So people imagine they're going on, they go buy Babalawo, they see something, they just want it, they go and buy it, they earn it.
Now you have to earn these things.
Hey, yo.
There is an elder with whom I have great respect for. That is Babadel. And he's a man who would always tell you that whatever instrument you might see somebody walking around with, they must be given the authority by their Uluwo or their Iyanifa or a competent, adept spiritual personality to carry it. So in terms of people walking around with a certain, what do they call it? They would walk around with horsetail or Iroquois, all of these things. You must be given the authority to do so, and that is in keeping with the tradition.
But
our tradition is not a carnival parade, you know.
Why would you pick up a horse here and decide just to move it? For what?
No, because, I mean, sometimes people want to put the cart before the horse. So in order for you to want certain things before you are graduated, it means that you're being impatient. You're being impatient. Some of our greatest elders in this country and even worldwide, they have went through the mill. They have went through the mill in order to reach where they are right now. You know? So let's take our time.
Jamie Simon says too much people crave wisdom of the tradition and they're not prepared on all levels. Power, knowledge can get you killed. So true.
Brother, you telling me this thing?
So true.
Hear this. It is plain as it is right now. When you was 5 years, you was able to speak the language of a 5-year-old. You dressed like a 5-year-old. When you was 10, you was able to speak the language of a 10-year-old. You was able to eat more as a 10-year-old. You was able to articulate yourself as a 10-year-old. So if you are at a particular stage that you have not mastered yet, Why would you seek things that are above your purview and your competence? You'll get yourself licked up. So we must be patient in all things as a people.
Costumes to look good, they're selling online. People always give the Olowo respect by calling him by his Ifa name and not Baba. Baba Bell, please practice what you are preaching.
Benny.
Respect the Olowo.
Benny. Yes. Baba Ifa Kolade. No, Ifa Korede. That's the man.
Jennifer Asprey says, and damage people also playing with people, Ori and life.
Yes, that's a serious thing. That's a serious thing. Okaran Ashe, that's the Udu that speak about when the Uri and the Highland was coming from heaven to earth. You know, the Highland went and rushed and did whatever to come to earth first. You know, to say that when I reach on earth first, no one would be higher than me. So when Uri went and did about to come to earth, the Babalawo told Uri, hear what? Sacrifice a pigeon. So when the Uri gave the pigeon, the Uri was told, hear what? Put the pigeon beside the mountain. So when the Uri did that, you know, the pigeon flew over the mountain. You know, so what that Udu is saying is, the Uri is very, very powerful. So we must be careful with whom we let put our hands on our heads. Whom we let put their hands on our heads. Not everybody's hand is clean, so be careful. And I just want to say to brother, sometime when we go in prayers or feasts, you would see a manifestation on the floor. It is very, very, very much wise to observe certain things before. If you are unsure of what the energy is, ask who they are, so they could identify who they are. And when the energy is positive or true, they will identify it themselves who they are. Let the elders take OBC and ask a question, because we must verify. We must verify who is coming and for what intention. Ashe?
Don't worry, people. The Olowo Baba Korede will be here very soon.
Yes, man. That's
very soon. Man. So we're gonna just take a break. We're gonna come back to you guys in a few. We're gonna play some songs and come right back at you.
Oya de, oya de, oya. Oya de, oya de, oya de, oh. Oya de, oya de, oya. Get in. Oya de, oya de, oya. Oya de, oya de, oya de, oh. Oya de, oya de, oya. Oya de, oya de, oya de, oh. Oya de, oya de, oya. Oya de, oya de, oya de, oh. Oya de, oya de, oya. Oya de, oya de, oya de, oh. Oya de, oya de, oya. Shango Mojuba ile Shango Oniwalo Eri jaja Orisha oko Erumole Shango Mojuba ile Iwaloba Kuso Shango Mojuba ile Shango Niwalo Eri jaja Orisha oko Erumole Shango Mojuba ile Iwaloba Kuso Shango Mojuba ile Baba Oniwalo Eri jaja Orisha oko Erumole Shango Mojuba ile Iwaloba Kuso Shango Mojuba ile Shango Niwalo Eri jaja Orisha oko Erumole Shango Mojuba ile Iwaloba Kuso Shango
Picture?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
So we're back at it again. Orisha Way of Life, right here on the Shit 919 FM. I'd just like to give thanks to the sponsors of the show because you know it's not easy to run this sort of show on the radio. It costs. But I'd like to say thanks to the management of the Shit 919 FM for allowing us to keep the show here. And we are calling out to all who would like the diaspora, in and out the diaspora, to help donate towards the show. You can call me on 3420081 or you can make 3420081 or 3494121 or you can make your donation straight to Trini Bashment Limited. Right? Some of the sponsors, Quinlan Brands, Nice Nuts, fresh coconut water from Nice Nuts. Call or WhatsApp to order 716-6396. You can get the best tasting coconut water, Nice Nuts, that is selected at Massey Stores, St. Anne's, West Mall, French Street, Chin City, and Marabella. It's also sold at True Value, Chin City Mall, Val Park, Long Circular, and Diamond Vale, Dingo Martin, Southland. We didn't forget you all, JTA Supermarkets, Carlton Center, St. James, Crossing, the Crossings, and finally at C3 Mall in Corinth. As you can see in studio right now, I have my quota of Nice Nuts coconut water here. This is my second bottle. Yeah. I'll be having for the night. Ashe.
It's really nice.
You know, store below 4 degrees Celsius, consumed within 2 days of opening. No additives, no preservatives. And next week's show, we're going to give away 4 bottles. 4 bottles of Nice Nuts coconut water. I could ask you, who was the first ever, a trivia, who was the first ever guest or speaker on the Orisha Way of Life? You know, simple questions. Simple questions about Orisha. What is Ashe? And somebody's asking, who is Ashe? What is Ashe? You know, who was his second guest, who was his fourth guest, you know. And other sponsors of the show, Gossip Gel Polish, their contact is 3275-87. SH Dynasty Clothes Apparel, Shafford Court, Shafford Mall, Temple Ojubo Orisha Umelu. That is the temple led by our two Banjela.
Benny.
Music Productions and Media Services. Yami Egbe Imo Ness in Kunupia. And King Shaka.
Owo Oya Holistic Massage Therapy. Owo Oya Holistic Massage Therapy. That is 350-6178. Ajatola Vision and Marketing Enterprises. 306-5691. Ajatola Vision Marketing and Enterprises. As well as Omo Inu, All Things Woman. Omo Inu, All Things Woman. Also sponsoring the show is the Lock Doc. The Lock Doctor.
The Lock Doctor. So we have it all covered up until the last day in September. So if you feel like the donations is not going to be spent on myself, no King Shaka. So if you feel comfortable, you uncomfortables, get in contact with myself or Shaka to help with donation sponsorship for the show. You can send your donation straight to Chini Bashman. Right? So the line is open. I'm taking a call now. Blessed. Alla fair caller.
Hello, good night.
Good night.
I listened to your program there for since about 3 or 4 Mondays about. I am interested in joining or want to get in this Risha Street. But I'm from Barco side, so I don't know which part in South I could get a membership or a place where I could.
How far is Tableland from Barrackpore?
Tableland is going up over your car side.
All right. You can take my number 349-4121.
349-4121. 4121.
And we can speak after the show. You can call me anytime after 9, but not after midnight.
Like tomorrow, so tomorrow?
Yeah, you can call me during the day, all day tomorrow, all day.
Benny.
From 6, you can call me in the morning.
349-21.
4121.
4121.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother.
You have a blessed night. I'd like to say special good night, Ifa Taiche.
Hey, brother.
Ifa Sion, blessed good night. Aboro Aboya Boshishe. Right, so we're getting back into it. Shaka, you're on the floor tonight. And our guest isn't here. The number to call Aina 342-0081. 342-0081, or you can go on Facebook and you can go into the search bar and search Street 919 FM and you will see it pop up and you just get into it one time. Right, so we have King Shaka tonight here. I'm throwing it at him. He's in the hot seat. We're having a good time.
Yeah, man.
Solo to marry. We're having a good time. Right, so where we left off, what is the Baba? Again, I'll call it. I'm going to take this call. Caller, good night.
Yeah, but sorry for that. It's the same person just now. It's 9121 or
4121.
4121. Okay,
Yeah.
349-4121.
Yeah. All right. Yes. What is expected of an Umawa? We touched on that, right?
Benny.
Right. So, what is the Baba Ifa responsibility when training an Umawa?
Well, number one, there must be truth in all things. You know, so when one makes themselves in a position to be an apprentice under a Babalawo or their mentor, the responsibility of that Babalawo or Uluwo is to ensure that, you know, they are truthful with the student, you know, they give them respect, you know, they make sure that, you know, they are okay, just as well as the student must make sure that their Uluwo or Babalawo is okay, you know. They must ensure that the student goes through the proper rigors and rites of passage in order to learn Ifa, learn how to dissect Ifa verses. They must also learn how to, you know, do Ebo and all of these things. And that is only done when the student makes themselves teachable. You know, so it is dependent on the attitude of the student that would help, you know, the Babalawo or the Uluwo bestow certain information on them. You know, so that is the main thing. The student making sure that they are teachable. And by making themselves teachable, the Babalawo in turn would bestow certain information onto them when that time is ripe. Ashe?
Ashe. And that ripe time could take?
It could take years. It could take years.
What?
But,
Go ahead, honestly.
It would take years because one, it is based on your competence, it is based on your memory, and it is based on one's willingness in order to learn that one will be taught to retain certain things.
What is expected of an Umuawo?
An Umuawo must, you know, make themselves humble, number one. Make themselves teachable. You know, be loyal. You know, an Umuawo must not run about, you know, trying to practice things that they are not taught. You know, doing rituals that they are not graduated in. You know, and Umuawo must be a proper ambassador to the Ifa Orisha tradition. An ambassador, when people see them, they will say, ah, this man is really, you know, the spiritual son of X or Y or Z, you know. But one of the main things is not doing rituals that one is not trained into doing. Ashe?
Ashe. What does graduation look like when an Umuawo reaches the end of his training?
Well, from the basic knowledge I have about a graduation, it is when the elders would come around. The person's Uluwo or Babalawo or elder would signal to the other elders to come, because that Umuawo would be put to the test on the mat to carry out certain things that is essential in graduating as a young Ifa priest. So one would have to be able to know at least 4 verses of the 256 Udu Ifa. One would also know how to read Okwele. One would also know how to read the messages from Obisid.
When you say read Okwele, what do you mean?
When I say
for somebody who listening.
Okay. What an Okwele is a divining tool. And when I say a divining tool, it is a consecrated tool which is used to communicate with God. So on the Okwele, there is one side has 4 halved nut, on the next side have 4 halved nut. So with each throw, one would get a different combination. So with every throw, there would be different combinations that would indicate what Odu is on the ground. So one would have to know how to read Upwell properly. One would have to know the seniority of the Odu from the 256
So what we take
Odu
this
Ifa.
call it? Alafia caller.
Good night, caller. Akaleo.
Good. Yes, good night. You're here? Yes.
We are hearing you.
Okay. I am just so appreciative because, you see, for all the time you're hearing about them Shango people and they killing things, you know. But here what discipline it entails.
Yes.
Patience,
Mhm.
discipline,
Yes.
knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Years of learning. I mean, these are things that we would expect that you're hearing from them Shaolin monks and all of these people. And
Yes.
here we have it. But all they know about is just them Shango people and all
Pause
of
raise with this one, yes?
We
Yes, yes.
caller, we were blindfolded.
Yes.
We were taken away. We were separated. What
Absolutely.
was ours?
Absolutely.
You understand? Because
And what was ours was demonized, deliberately
correct?
demonized.
Because in the past, when I was growing up, and I hear about Orisha people, what I hear, nah boy, stay away from them, boy. Them ain't good
Oh,
blood.
you-
Them
yes.
is in blood. Them is demonic. Them and
Yeah.
I could tell anybody here right now, Ifa, the way of life, Ifa, the 16 laws of Ifa, respect, patience, humility.
How you mean? This
we
is
do
what
not
I'm here.
we do not disrespect or condemnize other religions, other sections. But when you listen to these other sections, now with the knowledge I have, I just say, there they go.
Yes.
There they go. And if you just come and spend 5 minutes in my space, you would be amazed.
Yeah.
You would be amazed.
I hear you said there a couple of programs ago that, you know, the Orishas are loving and forgiving.
Yes, they are loving,
And-
yeah.
You understand?
Loving.
But all you hear about is just everything is demonized and made to look ugly.
Yep.
Can you imagine
And
the
it-
authentic thing?
Mm-hmm.
There was Baba
Yes.
Arorila Fakayode was here last week Monday, and he said he visited Yoruba land, and when he was there, a pastor came to Ifa, just like how the Bible is the way for Christianity and all these things. Ifa is the way, is the truth, is the word. And he said
course.
this pastor came to Ifa to seek knowledge,
course.
wisdom, and understanding on
course.
knowing where to go. So tell me, anybody who went and sat on a mat, visited a Babalawo, and did Dafa, did you see them come out with horns on their head?
The discipline that it takes.
It takes
Do
discipline.
not go out and practice things that you don't know.
Exactly.
I mean, that is sounding like something we hear from other people, not from them Shango people, you know.
And that is
Everything was demonized and made to look ugly.
And that is the distinction we want to get to people. Is that
Okay, and you're doing it well.
Ifa
doing it well.
Orisha way of life is a life of discipline, it's a life of order, it's a life of humility, it's a life of truth.
Honesty and
Yes.
truth. Yes,
You must be honest. You
Yes.
must be honest.
truthful. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much.
Thank you,
Just
yeah.
respect and respect for the elders at utmost. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashe.
Thank you.
Daniel John says, Aboro Aboye, Olowo, Atiyomo Awo. I think we are dealing too much with the priesthood aspect of Ifa and too little in the other 7 of the 8 essences of Ifa. This is why there is still a community leadership problem. Agbo Ato, Gugbo Aborisha Atiyawo. Thank you for your comments. Thank you. As I say, we are dealing with too much of the priesthood aspect of Ifa.
Well, you know, we can't put, you know, the cart beef.
And
or the
our
horse.
next caller.
We got to do things, you know, in order.
Hello, fair caller.
Yeah, good night to my brothers.
Good night.
Yes, man, nice program.
Thanks.
And, you know, what you're saying there just now, don't practice what you don't know. Because the time when I was a little younger, I had a little matter in the court. But that is attorney who was cheaper. You know, as a stage, he went mad. So as I went to him, I said, "Show, I know all your attorneys have been lodged and things. Show me a sign to make in front of the judge so that, you know, he goes set me free and have it. And, you know, yeah, you know anything about that?" I said, "No." He said, "Don't practice what you don't know."
Sure.
He said, "Go and ask the judge for forgiveness." I said, "Thank you."
Yes.
That's what you see it said. God will never give you more than you can bear. And a lot of people don't understand that. The heights you reach is then things that reveal unto you. You understand? Because these are tree growing. So God will never give you more than you can bear. I ain't talking about people that feel like, you know, the passing through a little separation and thing and whatever, and, you know, God will die with me.
Benny.
But what it really means is that God will never give you more than you can bear. You understand? So the more you know, is the more He will reveal things unto you. You understand? And as you say, your tongue, you understand, is what is bear the fruit, because your heart is the root, you know. You understand? Anywhere your mind go, your life just follow. So due to the moderation in you, the moderation, as a listener, moderation, I hear you saying about patience and things, which is very important. I see moderation is the most important thing in life.
You know, Ola, a part of being patient, it is knowing when to act at the right time. So patience doesn't mean, you know, you would hold back and let everything pass you. Patience is about making sure that your head is clear and making sure that you make certain moves at the right and opportune time in order to receive whatever is there for you. All right? So thanks.
Patience is important because God is very patient. Look at how much years pass and we just doing the same wrong things over and over, and He's still patient with us. So we should learn from that, where patience really lies.
Sure.
You understand? So what is important is getting yourself ready. Now, let me say you're going to school, you're in first year, and you learn nothing. You cannot go to second year.
No.
The teacher will not pay attention. You see, when you learn past that stage, then the teacher does appear to you.
Benny.
You understand what I'm saying, my friend? So you all have a God like.
Thank you. Thank you, caller. Blessings.
I just want to go back on what Daniel John was saying. The main have a call here coming.
Benny.
Hello, fair caller.
Yes, good evening, good afternoon. You know, I listen to you all, and I want to say something. Growing up as a little fella, I always hear the Baptist, the Shango, the Orisha, you understand, these African, you understand, religions and this sort of thing, Christian sort of thing. And I ask myself, you know, Christian, as you grew older, you start to gain knowledge and wisdom on these things. How come it's only those religions, African religions, that remain poor and not hustlers?
Thank you for that beautiful question, caller. I love that question. Hey, man, when you ask that question, my mouth spring water.
It's a fact.
Yes, and
the most spiritual,
yes,
out of all of them, are the Orisha, the Baptist, the Shango, the Orthodox, are the most spiritual. Out of all of them, they are hustlers. Listen, there's I don't know, but this thing goes so deep.
What I want to say, you see, it goes back to again, Ifa teaches me about respect. I don't want to say.
No. I know you don't go. I could go.
Yeah.
I could go.
Paula,
I can go.
Paula, I just want to say, when a group of people turn their back on their ancestral practices, teachings, and doctrines. It is only when one is doomed to fail. As Marcus Garvey had said, if one forgets one's ancestors, they would be like a tree without roots. So what I am saying on this program here is, in terms of the African man and the African woman, in fact African people, we have to hold on to our ancestral practice and practice it in the right way so that blessings would come to us. Because hear this, if we intend to be mixing up in all other groups of people ways of life, different types of energies would keep us down. It would have us suppressed. Let us, and in fact this Ifa way of life is about knowing your blueprint in order to walk on this earth and in order to access and accept all the blessing there is for you. Because all of us have a blueprint of success. But if we turn our backs on that and we look to follow all other ways of life, these other ways of life cannot work for us. It comes as if...
But hear this now, brother. Hear this before you go. By Dr. Frances Cresswell Singh. She said, the most disastrous aspect of colonialization, which you are the most reluctant to release from your mind, is the colonization of the image of God.
Yes!
Well, Singh.
Yes, and it's a fact. Because if we put down what is ours, because as my brother had now said, we have that rich spiritual power. But because we are poking our nose into other people's ways of life, it is keeping us down. Because one, we are not doing the things we are supposed to do.
You know, our take...
Because you see what happened? When your enemies has become your deities,
yes.
You understand? You're in trouble. They are our enemies and they have become our deities. They make us worship them. They take our story and they turn it around, you understand, at the Nicene Conference 325 AD and have us worshiping, you understand, something, you understand, that is not real, something that they give us to keep us enslaved, mental and spiritual slavery they have us in. We have to go back to our ancestors' roots.
Yes.
We have to go back to Africa.
Caller, I want to tell people here on this live radio program in Trinidad and Tobago and the region, Ifa Orisha practice, divination, that communication and that harmonious communication with God, could tell every single person what is their blueprint of how to walk on this earth. Whatever name you have to carry, you will even get your name that would build that spiritual power in you. Because, hold on, caller.
You see, we are people, you understand? We never take name just so, you know.
Yes.
John, or we take a name like that, you know.
Right.
You get a name when you're born, according to what happened at that time.
You get a name in our tradition, caller. Yes, we name our people through what destiny they have chosen in heaven. And when we call our children whatever name they chose in heaven, it will give that person that spiritual power and that spiritual asher to walk on the earth with authority.
Anyway, I'm glad, you know, I just want to getting a little peace with you all, and I think I listen to you all most of the time, you understand? When I'm wrong, you understand? And we have to, African people have to get back, you understand? You see, ancestors, you have to go back and talk with your ancestors, consult your ancestors, deal with your ancestors, because they are the ones, you understand, that are responsible for us being here. Have a good evening, my brothers.
Thank you, caller.
The caller said he watched how all religions will prosper.
All other groups.
All other groups will prosper, but the African man will always stay a certain way. Jamie Simmons says, don't jealous a man who prosper in his ways. You don't know what he did, what deal he made to enjoy wealth, fame, and luxury. That is so true.
Is the truth.
Baba Rola Fakayode says they don't know their taboos. That is why.
Here's the truth. That is one of the problems.
Jimmy Simmons says we're learning all the hip hop and dancehall music by heart, and to pray or say one oriki, we can't. You know, and these things are so true. And before I would have taken a snap at that with the religion, but from my point and my teachings, the way that I am going so far, what I will say, when the basket or the box is being passed around in other sectors and it goes to a certain group, likewise, the Olowo, the Iyanifan, the Babalawo, he might ask for a little donation, and the Babalawo in turn will take that funds and feed his members and feed Sibodi Yard and see. While some people were saying here is somehow it look, I never see nobody do it, but you see people from certain parts living a certain lifestyle. As Jamie says, we don't know what pack they make, we don't know what they did. What we have to do is the same way how we could recite this and recite that, learn some more keys, take a understanding of the Udos, try and get back to what is ours,
Benny.
Connect with the ancestors.
Ashe.
The number to call the station is 3420081, 3420081. WhatsApp number 771-1791, 771-1791. Right? Orisha, the way of life, right here on the street 919 FM. Every Mondays with myself, Alatumishe Ifabamishe Aganki, better known in the music industry world, Radio Land as MC Duke. And my co-host here, King Shaka.
Peace, love, and blessings, Trinidad and Tobago.
We are here. The line is open. The line is open. We were speaking about our guests. Didn't come, things happen. We are living in a time of COVID, coronavirus. You never know what could happen. Take a call here. Allah fair caller.
Yeah, Buru Aboya, Boshi says, Baba,
yes, Baba.
How are you all, my brothers?
We are good.
Just
we are good.
Things well.
Okay, great. I'm enjoying the program thus far.
Yes.
And
I must say before you go forward, I am thankful for the donation from your
Likewise,
shrine,
indeed,
from your music company. And while I received your offering today to keep this program going ahead, you called me because I bounced up someone coming into your yard, and you called me. I was already in town. You said, someone gave me some money to donate to the show. Baba, we thank you very much. May Olodo Marian the Orishas continue blessing you with long life, prosperity, health,
Benny,
and the Ashe to continue doing the good work that you are doing. Yes, Baba, the floor is yours.
This is at least what we can do. And we must be our brother's keeper.
Yes.
In situations like these, we can make a difference.
Benny.
And just to add to what the caller said, in regards to when you look at most of the persons who are Orisha devotees or Ifa devotees, however they call themselves, and spiritual Baptists, mostly the Orisha community, you will see that they're very poor in the way of they behave and things like that. Some of them, when you look where they live in, they see more trouble than you and me, and we question that. And of course, most importantly, what I want to tell the caller is that because basically most people, they don't know their taboos, and they're not taking the effort to really get deeper into the tradition and to have this information to them.
True.
So they just stay in the background and say, my grandmother used to do it that way, my mother used to do it that way, to hell with that, and anywhere else is nowhere else. So they never educate themselves further into the tradition, so they're being misinformed, and also to most of the sacrifice that is being done in the Orisha tradition, most of it sometimes are the taboos of the Orishas.
Yeah.
So they're giving the taboos to the Orishas.
Yes.
Wow.
And in giving the taboos to the Orishas, they are setting back themselves for a lot of problems, you know. And you can't tell them the truth is I was doing it and the Orisha was accepting it then and they'll continue. You know, these are things that they need to know, how to appease the Orisha properly.
Benny.
You know, so that they will be able to get the benefit out of what they are doing. You know, and another thing is naming our children.
Sure.
Because if you are calling your child Peter, Peter might have been our slave master.
Yes.
You keep invoking. Every time we call your child, Peter come, Peter come.
You call me slave master?
You keep invoking Peter, who happened to be that slave master. And when Peter come, that child look at himself as being white. That child look at himself as being superior to you because they're invoking the spirit of Peter. When that child come, that child has to cuss you up and carry on. You want to be walking that child, what's going on with my child? Because you are invoking the spirit
of Peter,
of the oppressor in that child. That child will see you as nothing else but an enslaved person. And then the rebellion starts in the house. So that is another thing. In order for us to evolve as a people, we need to start putting tradition as the forefront in our lives, in our homes.
It is a fact.
And we will go from strength to strength, and we would not have any poor.
Baba Arula Fakayode, how can we in the community deal with that situation, like reaching out there and actually fixing? Because a point that's stuck in my worry right now, what you just said, is some people are feeding the Orishas their own taboos. So that means it goes back to the teachings of the said individuals who are giving the Orishas their taboos, which messing up people's life even more. How can we get to the bottom of this? How can we get to the root, uproot it, destroy it, and go forward?
Education is the key. And I would advise everyone who's listening to find someone that is very much knowledgeable about the tradition. Not anyone that keep feast know about feast.
Is it true?
Not everybody and anybody that has a shrine knows about shrine. There are some people, their destinies to have a place of worship, yes. But that doesn't mean they have the much knowledge that they'll be able to pass on to their members. Hence, you need to find someone and to get in contact with somebody that has the knowledge. You know? Because I have learned that if you meet an elder or a priest or somebody who has a shrine or whatever they may call it, and they have knowledge but has no character, respect them for their knowledge's sake. And if you meet that elder, that priest, whoever it might be, that has no knowledge but has character, that is all they have to offer. Respect them for their character's sake. If you meet someone that has no knowledge or no character, you need to maintain social distance.
It's a fact.
If it is that person has nothing to teach you, they have no character at all, move far away.
Yes, it's true.
Move far away. But if this person has both knowledge and character,
you stay close to them.
Give them full respect. And this is where we have to go by, because a lot of people keeping feasts and all these different kind of things because they might get a dream or a vision to do it, but they're not so much knowledgeable about caring for the shrines and all these different things, because they have all kind of shrine in the yard. Dao, Shango, Batala, Oshun, all these things. And they don't even know, you know, the essence behind it. They don't know the taboos, the feeding modes, you know, the different symbols towards the shrines, what needs to be done, how to make the icons, all these different things. So they're just putting down something when the spirit tell them to put on.
And that is even why, and even we had said, one must be well trained and graduated in order to do certain rites and rituals that is within the tradition.
Something just come to me. What, just like how other religions or other practices have like organizations what does regulate and control. I believe or I see in here what we need is a council. What we need is a group of elders, educated, qualified to go around and regulate. Do we have a regulating system within the Orisha Ifa diaspora that could tell someone, yo, what's going on, brother, sister, that is not the right way, you need to do it this way?
Well, to be honest with you, and let me be honest as possible, when a tree has grown so big, it is very hard to bend that tree. What we need to depend now on is the young shrubs that is now about to shoot. So it will be easily bent. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So hence a school that will educate the young ones in our beautiful tradition will ensure that our tradition will evolve for the betterment of a better tomorrow. Because you see these old heads and them, some of them, they are stuck in their ways. They are not willing to conform. You know what I'm telling you? And what we see going on now, how we will look for it. Because when we see someone coming up and they open a shrine, you should go as an elder and say, hey, you open a shrine, but who give you the, you know what, I know you might get a dream, but let me confirm to the caller not now. Let me confirm that this is the right time for you to do this now.
And you know,
and stuff like that.
But
they just do it and we allow them. And then when the message is found, then you see social media pop up. We have an Orisha Council of Elders here in Trinidad and Tobago, but I just call them, people just say Baba your mouth thing, but I tell you all they live here.
Bye-bye.
I just call them the Ghost Gang Council because I don't know who they are. Right? And if it is that we want to start to bring about a change, I think this Council of Orisha Elders of Trinidad and Tobago should come forward and tell us who are the directors, who are the president, the vice president, the secretary, the trustees, who make up this council. And until we can have that level of transparency, then we will probably go forward as a people, and then education will come in the forefront. Don't let me just see somebody representing we in the parliament, and we even aware of this person can even say a good Yoruba prayer good, or this person can even chant a good thing, and we don't know who this person is, how knowledgeable this person is to represent we as a people. And this is the thing, we are allowing it. If all the Orisha people come together and say, listen to me, you are not representing us well, and we think that you should have somebody that will represent us well in parliament, in the corridors of government. And if you stand up to the government, say, listen, we are standing up, that we do not want this person to represent us as our leader. This person is not our leader. We do not see this person as our leader. We do not see this person knowledgeable enough to represent us in the corridors of government. So therefore, we would like to choose among ourselves who we see fit. And that is the change we want in our community.
Sure. Baba, in Ifa and Age Yogbe, it says that methodical planning is the father of all organizations. So what you're saying there is the truth. Because if we have a body of people that is a ghost gang, as you had said, and we do not know who the directors are, who is what and who is which, it means that we don't know the direction that certain things are happening for us.
Baba, I'm glad I get here. I go keep you here. We go pay for that call, right? You stay right there. I get the Facebook, the comments coming in. Katrin Agong says the Hindus do more to inform the general population of their way of life than Orisha people. The caller is close to the point. Daniel John says a structure for a council is badly needed, for past structures has failed to make an impact and create sustainability within our community. This as boy, whoa,
yeah, what?
Whoa.
Yeah, what?
Yes, and they are very true. They are very true, because if I am in an organization, or I am part of a community that has a body that's supposed to be representing me, and I don't even know who are the elders in that council or whatever it might be, then I am seeing that I am being represented poorly, and there is no enough information for me to go forward as a devotee. For a matter of fact, as I have knowledge about that council of Orisha elders, as far as I see it, it is disbanded because the president, which was the late Olori Awo of Trinidad and Tobago, Baba Fort, he's passed away. The vice president, which was Baba Samfield, he's passed away. Most of the elders, Moriaye, Madam Melvina Rodney, all of these people, they passed away. Right? All we know is the secretary that came after. He's still alive, which is Mr. Neil Rollins. He's the one that is running the council. Okay. I don't know. We don't know who are the elders. And I am saying it is imperative for him to come forward. And I think the Orisha community should demand this, that he comes forward and come forward with the necessary documents and let us know, hey, we are the council. This is what made up the council. We represent the Orisha community and on the board of IRO, because he's now the president of the IRO at this time, or right, something like that. So he's now representing. We don't know what is going on, and in order for us to evolve as a people, we must have structure,
Baba,
transparency,
Baba, and even to what is in there, we don't even know the direction too, because if it's a ghost body, then who's the head, you know, and what decisions are being made on our behalf?
I don't know, probably the head probably is Casper. I don't know.
Thank you, Baba.
Since this program going on, Baba Arowila Fakayode, I must say thank you for imparting your knowledge. Feel free to call anytime. I know once we call on you, you are also the reigning Young King 2020. I must keep giving you that strength, that power. Continue creating good music. I'll get in our next call on the line here, Baba.
Thank you very much. You all keep good. All the best.
Yeah. Caller, you live?
Yeah, Baba.
Ogba to sorry, worry your phone.
Ati Omawo.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Daniel. Iwalewa. Right. Now, what I was looking at, too much emphasis is placed on the religious aspect of the tradition. And I feel that's where the problem is. We seldom look at the other 7 essences. Even today, we're not even dealing with the medicinal essence with all this COVID and all this situation. We're not hearing the direction as Ifa given in terms of protecting ourselves from such ailment that it spoke of in the yearly Odu. You know. But our problem is basically we do not have elders and teachers sitting together and looking at aspects. Everybody wants to be a king in his own space, but still want to rule people outside of this space. I understand what
you're saying, Baba.
Yeah.
Baba,
that's what has been going on.
You well, as you are aware, you know, we follow Ifa Orisha practice, and we get, most of us have Uluwos and Ianifa from Yoruba land. And when you look at Yoruba land, I'm not saying that they are perfect, but Ifa has a structure. It has a structure that would come down, you know, and it is accountability on every single level. So there would be different chief, there would be different priests, but everybody is accountable to somebody, and whatever title is given must be given by an accredited source. So, so even within our paradigm of Trinidad and Tobago, whenever that body is formed, it must mirror that would give us that mandate in order not to challenge or put down anybody, but who give certain people certain authority to do certain things or call themselves certain things in order to carry out the affairs of the Orisha and the ancestors. Okay?
Yeah, I understand. So what I'm saying, all right.
Caller, we have 1 more minute because David Mohammed is up next.
We have 5 lineages: Major, Samarin, Caradi, Eligobo, Carmen right now. And it is just that even if these lineages come and sit together for one day, set our agenda, connect with their Olowos, and set our agenda where we could start to look at the other areas. Where the ancestors, the Orishas, the Ifa, the Iami, all the other sectors could sit in one form a structure, and then out of that is form the other councils needed in other 8 essences that we have to fulfill what IFA really stands for.
Ashe. Ogbato, Asure, Iwori.
Just before we lock off, I'd like to deal with this from Catherine Ayong. From inception, the show, we have been educating, we have been telling people what is Udu, what is Orisha. From since I had Sean, Ifa Perere, Sean Singh, we have been speaking, and not every Monday we will come back and
talk over the same thing.
Talk over the same thing, but we have what we will do. We will try at times to break it down, right? And this is one. I wouldn't say that Baba Arula Fakayode was sharing dirty laundry in public. He was just bringing about what is going on and what is happening. You understand? We must be able as our people to understand. And I know the Baba Arula Fakayode would not be disrespectful on air because he's also a Babalawo, right? And we just go back, we just educate the masses from day one. And this one of the problems. If we have a problem, let me sort out the problem and let me deal with it best as our people. Why the other groups and other religious sectors does have the problems and sort it out and deal with it. You understand? So we as our people, I am thankful. I'm always thankful for the comments, and we do educate people. Like tonight, we went back on what is an AWO, and we was educating people. So if people need extra information, you can call me after the show on 349-4121. But Catherine Agong, I am going to message you personally and we'll have a discussion. It's about edifying, it's about educating. And we have to remember, we are young hours coming up. And one of the questions I'm being bombarded with here, where can we go? I'm interested in Orisha. Where can I go? Where can I go? And in order for us to understand and get the realization, we have to know where, when somebody call you and asks they need somewhere to go, we could send you in the right direction.
Yep.
Not because it have a pale or a ile down in a corner, so we go say go down, so I know where you go and say 2 years from now. But as listen to King Shaka and MC, you can tell me to go down there and look what's going on all over the place. At the end of the day, may Oludo marry and your riches bless us, guide us, and continue strengthening us as a people. We are all great people. Up next is David Mohammed with the Black Agenda.
Benny. Peace, love, and blessings, Trinidad and Tobago. Use wisdom, use patience in seeking a spiritual home and elders and mentors to follow. Look at them, observe them, ask about them, and then make the correct and right choices. Aburu, Aboye, Aboshise.
Firi Monday, Firi Monday, Shako to Shako to Firi Monday, Firi Monday, Shako to Shako to Kiri Monday, Kiri Monday, Shako to ile. Shakutu wale ile oh. Firi Monday ile.
Firi Monday. Shakutu wale ile. Shakutu wale ile oh. Firi Monday ile.
Firi Monday. Shakutu wale ile. Shakutu wale ile oh. Firi Monday ile.
Firi Monday. Shakutu wale ile. Shakutu wale ile oh. Kiri Monday ile.
Firi Monday. Shakutu wale ile. Shakutu